It's weird if I just don't do anything else. I gotta look at it. There we go. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Welcome to Daily Fuel, and welcome to the replay. Unless you're not in the replay. There's already people here. Ray's not in the replay. Well, you might be in the replay. Hi, Ray, live, and hi, Ray, in the replay. Ray, now you gotta go back and watch the replay later so you can see me say hi to you again. Just the first couple minutes. So if you are in the replay, then do me a favor and let me know you're in the replay. You can write a comment, a hashtag. You can like and heart the video. That's cool. I don't usually see that. You can watch and not write anything. That's also allowed. However, if you write a comment, especially a hashtag, I usually see those, and it warms my heart and makes me all happy. And it's an ego boost for me. So do that, will you? Come on. What's wrong with that? You can write any hashtag you like. Make one up. I have a feeling we have creative people in this group, so make up a hashtag. Hashtag I missed it again. Something like that. And enough of the replay, people. If you're watching live, you can comment the whole time. If you're new to Facebook, I looked out. I see Facebook user. Who's that? That's Melissa. Hey, Melissa, how you doing? I can't see my phone with my glasses on. Anyway, if you're new to the group, Jesus, if you're new to Daily Fuel, here's how this works. I have a thing. I'm going to talk for a little while. I'm going to ignore all the comments, but then I'm going to come back and I'm going to read all the comments. So while I'm doing my thing, you guys can comment on everything that I'm saying. It also makes a little clicky sound that I like. And because then I hear that click and I know that people are still paying attention because I'm not looking at anything while I'm doing this. So, let's see who we got here. Ray is here. Hi, Ray. Nathan says, hey, Bobby, and hello to all. There you go, dude. See, that's how you say hello on Daily Fuel. You give me my own hello, and then you say hello to everybody else. I don't care how you do it. Just make sure that I get the proper... I always love saying this, and wondering if there's a person here going like, what a dick, and leaving the group. Robin says, hi, Bobby, and gives me lots of flowers. Thank you, Robin. And hello, beautiful people. There you go. Robin knows the deal. What's up, Bobby? Hello to all my awesome artists. See, Hector learned the hard way yesterday because I called him out. I called him out on the incorrect way of saying hello in Daily Fuel, and today he does it right. So thank you, buddy. How you doing, man? Melissa says, Groovilius. I think you mean Groovylicious. Afternoon. How you doing, Melissa? Nice to see you. I'll have to tag you on my post to not be a Facebook user. And hearts, you know what? Let's read these later. I'm going to get to the thing now, and because we're way over 2 minutes. I like to try and keep it to 2 minutes, and that never happens. So, let us begin. Take a breath. Get warm, it's very cold. The Surefire Foolproof Plan. Can't fail, never fails. We're awesome. This is how you do it. I've got a great idea. I'm going to put this idea into action. I'm not going to start the idea until I've got the whole thing outlined, mapped, planned, flow charted, written all out on my whiteboards. I'm going to do the whole thing on paper first. Then I'm going to get started and take that first step. And you know what always happens when you finally take that first step after spending hours or days or weeks or months or years or decades doing all of that planning? You take that first step on your well thought out, amazing plan, and the universe is like, yeah, Dick, that ain't happening. Dick, why am I saying that word today? That ain't happening. That thing is not happening. It's the first step you take just doesn't work out the way that you thought you were going to take. Or now that you've taken that first step, you've learned something or realized something that you didn't know when you were doing that big plan, and now you're like, oh, had I known that, I would have planned this whole thing differently. but now I learned it and I have to redo the whole plan. So that's how you do a plan. It's the foolproof surefire plan to not get what you want. Did I leave that part off the title? Oh, gee, I'm sorry about that. I may have insinuated that this was a way to make a plan that's going to work. This is a surefire plan to fail, is to not do anything until you've got it all figured out. And then I'm going to start the thing. Like making an outline before you write your essay. Oh, I hate that. I have always hated that. That's something that my English teachers or every teacher always says to do. Write an outline and then you write your essay. And it's like, that doesn't work for me because the way that I create, usually I think of things in the creation process. I can't think of what I'm going to create and then create it. So outlines don't work for me. Business plans, that doesn't work for me. You know why? Because I just make everything up. I'm like, I have no idea how this is going to work or who's going to like this or whether they're going to like it this way or that way. No idea, so I can guess and write it on paper if that's what you want to see. But it's probably going to be wrong because I have no way of knowing what the truth is going to be or what the better way is going to be. I don't know what's going to work better for me once I'm in the thick of it. I don't know what's going to work better for my clients or my customers once I'm in the thick of it. No idea. I can make it up and write it down and figure it all out and then get to work. Or I can do the three things that I've come up with to do. This is the better way. And it's not surefire. It's not foolproof. However, it is going to get you on your path. It is going to move you forward rather than the way that we try to do things sometimes, which is to figure it all out before I even start. So number one is take what my friend Landon and I call day trips. Now, if you can imagine this scenario, right? Imagine that you have a base camp where this is where I live. This is where I reside. I'm camping here, but I want to go somewhere else. So that's one way of thinking of it. Like it's my home base. And I want to get to the top of this mountain, or I want to get to that other place over there, whatever. The other place over there, that's the plan all worked out. That's everything. It could be the new business. It could be how I'm going to meet a new boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife or something like that. It could be the plan to... what other plans do people make? I don't even know. I'm constantly in business mode, so I don't even know. But whatever you're planning for your life, right? You're here and you want to be there. I think we can all understand that. So instead of staying here and never venturing out and figuring it all out on paper, and then when you got it all figured out, then you take your first step. Instead of doing that, don't do that. And instead, take a step and see what happens when you do, and then come back to base camp and say, that was interesting. Now that I know that, maybe I'll try this instead. And then the next day you can take another step. So my friend and I, Landon, we call these things day trips. So the idea is you're at home base and you want to find a new home base to set up your tent. So instead of knowing that I'm definitely going to that ridge over there that I can't see, and taking all your stuff, you pack your tent, you pack up all your gear, you put everything on your back, right? Because that's how you carry things, I think, when you're camping. I don't camp. And now you're trekking with all your stuff. And then you get there and you realize this place stinks. I can't do anything here. It's quicksand, or there's too many mosquitoes, or there's wild animals that want to eat me, or something like that. And now you got to take all this stuff that you just carried a long distance, and you got to walk back to your original base camp and set it all up again because the place you went was no good. So instead of doing that, leave all your stuff. Leave your tent set up. Leave your gear. Don't take everything you own with you. Just take a walking stick and go on a little hike and see what's over there. Then when you're over there, you could be like, wow, good thing I didn't bring all my stuff because this place sucks. I don't like it over here. So That's the idea of a day trip. Now, what do I mean? What does that look like in real life? Well, instead of trying to figure out, let's say you're trying to, I'm going to use me as a real life example because you've been kind of seeing me try this out for the past month or two. I'm trying to launch a new thing with my business, and I've been taking a lot of little day trips and trying them on and seeing what they feel like. Instead of trying to figure out the whole thing on paper and then launching it, what I've been doing is I've just kind of been like building something and playing with it for a couple of days and then being like, I like this, I don't like this, I like this part of it, I don't like this, I like all these pieces, but they're in the wrong order. And then, but now I've got my base camp, so I can come back to base camp and I can just kind of figure out like, well, how do I want to reorder them? How do I want to reprice it? How do I want to put these, maybe I'm putting this, too soon, or maybe this part should be paid for instead of free. Things like that, you're allowed to play around with it. You see me do this. If you've been in this group for more than a few months, then it's probably had 3 names by now that you know about. I know about more. But, unless you've been in it since the very beginning, this group has had different names along the way. I changed the cover image because suddenly now I realize, I have data now that I didn't have before because I take day trips. I try things on. I go out and I explore something for a little while, and then I come back here and I go, let me try this. So plan on your plan being an experiment sometimes. Sometimes you don't know the answer and you have to experiment a little bit. So don't worry if you have to do that. Which leads me to number 2 is don't worry if you have to do that. Don't be so hard on yourself if the first experiment doesn't work. You take that walking stick and you go over here and you're like, I'm so excited about this new place where I want to set up my camping gear. And you get there and it's quicksand or mosquitoes or wolves or something like that. And you're just like, wow, this place stinks. Now you go back and you're like, I am such a loser. It's like, why did I ever think that was going to work? No, don't do that. You're not a loser. You're a human being. We are spiritual beings on a human adventure. If you had all the answers, you wouldn't need to be here. We don't have all the answers. The idea is we're going out into the world and we're trying things on, right? You go to the store, you don't just stand at the door at the clothing store and be like, I'll take 2 of those shirts and 1 of those pants and just bring it to my house. And then you get to your house because you got to go out that night and you're putting the clothes on and nothing fits. Why? Because you didn't try it on, right? You have to try it on first. And sometimes we don't want to do that. It makes a lot of sense in certain things, like if you were going to buy clothes, you would try them on. But in other things in our lives, we don't try them on. We just think like, oh, I've got such a great idea. Oh, this is going to be amazing. And I'm going to do it. And it's not until we, try it on for real that now it's like, oh my God, this doesn't fit, or I don't like this color on me, or whatever. And then we go, why am I such a loser? Or why did I think that was going to happen? Or I've done it again, right? Have you ever said that to yourself? Oh, I've done it again. I thought that I was going to do this amazing thing, and it turned out to not be. And now I'm just embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to show this to my family, or my parents, or my friends, or my coworkers, or whatever. And really, what it is you're just being hard on yourself, and you're placing expectations on yourself that aren't fair, because you're placing expectations of perfection that we don't have. So don't do that. The bigger the plan, the more day trips are going to be required. So just think of that, which leads me to number 3, which is the energy work that we can do there. There are specific tactics that we can go into these things to make it easier on ourselves. And I've got 2 specific energy work tactics that we can use for this when you have a big plan that you want to do. The first is, before you start taking any action, just meditate on it for a while. I like to take at least a week, if I can, where I'm just meditating on an idea and playing with it before I go, I know what to do, and start, making it and putting it out there. I don't always do that. I've come up with this because I've done the other way too many times that I've been like, oh, I did it again. So I don't want to do that anymore. So now what I do is I meditate on it, and I'll continually meditate on it. But the second energy work tactic that I like for this is called segment intending, where I just said take day trips and know that everything is going to be an experiment. So a really good, if you don't know what segment intending is, it's an expression I get from Abraham Hicks. It means that I am now going to do this thing. I'm now, whatever segment of your day or life you're up to, you set an intention beforehand that it's going to be great. I am now getting in the car, and in this next segment of my day, I'm going to be driving from here to there. So I'm going to intend for a pleasant drive, safe driving conditions. I'm going to get there on time. You can set these segments, and when you practice that often enough, you start noticing that you get better at it. You might be of the mindset that I segment intend with driving so often that I just know when I get to where I'm going, there's going to be a spot right in front. That happens to me sometimes when I'm working on it. When I'm not working on it, that's when you hit every red light and you get there and there's no spots and you're parked 15 blocks away, and you got to walk. And you may as well have just walked in the first place. So there's that. So if you can segment intend this way, I'm going to work on my plan today, and I understand that I'm probably not building the thing that's going to be the final thing. Today I'm probably just going on a day trip. So I'm going to be okay with the fact that maybe what I'm doing is acting like a scientist collecting data rather than the creator creating the finished thing on the first shot or the second shot or the 10th shot. Remember, the larger the plan, the larger the vision that you have, the more day trips you're going to need to take, because you're going to need to figure out a lot of factors. There might be other people involved. What do they like? What do they want? Or it might be... there's just a lot of factors involved, a lot of variables involved. And if you're trying to figure them all out in your head on paper or something like that, before you'd even take a step, you're going to get them all wrong. Something's going to be wrong. And if maybe you only got one wrong, but because that one doesn't fit, now none of them fit, So the segment intention could be something like this. Today, I'm going on a day trip. Or today, I'm going to experiment a little bit on my big plan. Today, I want to find out if I like doing it this way better or this way better. I don't know, or I want to find out which way my audience is going to like better, this way or this way or this way. I don't know the answers to these questions right off the top of my head. I can imagine them, but just because I had this great idea doesn't mean it's correct, and doesn't mean that it's actually the thing that I want. So I'm going to try these clothes on before I buy them. I want to take up golf. So instead of buying a $10,000, how much do golf clubs cost? A $1,000 golf club pack set, whatever they are. I'm just going to rent one at the pro shop first and see if I even like this freaking game. Do you know what I mean? It's like we can segment intend to say that I'm going to experiment a little bit before I commit to this idea. Then when you do that enough, a funny thing happens. The whole thing just starts coming together. It comes together, and usually it comes together in ways that you could have never planned. Just sitting there writing outlines and things like that. We just don't have the ability to do that. So don't be so hard on yourself. You're not perfect. And neither am I. That whole thing I wrote today was a joke. So let's go to the comments and see what you people have to say. I have an itch right here. Excuse me. All right, let's see. Oh, I see some essays from Robin. So let's see what we got. Robin says hearts yesterday because I was happy and I loved the startup again for now. Okay, cool. And now today back to flowers. Thank you, Robin. Appreciate that. Hector's laughing because I made fun of him for his salutations and lack thereof yesterday. So thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. The Surefire Foolproof Plan. Wow. Yeah, it was a fun name. I was proud of this one. Hector, in my artwork, I learned very quickly not to create a plan. No artwork I've created ever went as planned. Right? I have a thought how I want it to be, but I keep my seatbelt on for the ride. It's usually a bumpy ride in the woods with sand kicking up, and sometimes off the main road I end up. Yeah, I can't plan things. Even when I'm doing things that have a script, I am way off script all the time. Because as soon as now, it's like with my comic book, for example, right? As I'm making this thing, I've got, first I come up with a script that I write, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. And then I start outlining what it's going to look like based on the script, and outlining, right? What I do is, instead of just going right to the finished panels, I draw them as thumbnails first. I start thumbnailing. I'm going to say that word. I like that word better than outlining. I do like thumbnailing. Thumbnailing, this is a little aside. What is thumbnailing? I don't know if all artists do this or if I learned it in art school simply as a graphic designer. But instead of committing to the final design right from the get, you create what's called thumbnails. Thumbnails because they're small, unless you got giant thumbs, which could be. But they're still small relative to paper, probably. So on one piece of paper, you could just draw a few different outlines or creations or what you think this thing that you're creating is going to look like. And see if you like it, you know? And so what I'll do is I'll outline what the page of the comic might look like and how this script that I wrote might lay out. And now that I'm looking at how it lays out, I realize, well, the script needs another line here, or it needs I need an extra panel, or I can't end the page on this thing because it's too boring. I want to end the page on a cliffhanger of some kind. So I'll redo that. Then when I'm making the actual art for the actual panels, I think of new things that I didn't even think of when I was writing or when I was thumbnailing. I think all of a sudden it's like, oh, you know what would be great? This. And now, so it's like the writing process and the thumbnailing process are actually day trips. I think of them as day trips. I think of them as ways for me to sort of let this story, let this artistic thing that I'm creating germinate and grow before I commit it to the final, this is the comic, you know? And by the time I get to that part where I'm actually making the panels, it could be wildly different from what I had originally written. So that's interesting. So Hector's doing the same thing. If you haven't seen Hector's work, he does really cool steampunk artwork, sculptures, things that he builds. So I can imagine, dude, that if you planned that from start to finish and like a blueprint or something like that, that it would probably be very unsatisfying because you'd be stuck with what you came up with on paper, rather than now that you're putting this thing together and you realize, look at this thing, I didn't know that this moved like this, or this looked like this, or I didn't realize this would look like this next to this other thing, and now that I'm seeing it in real life, I realize, like, this thing goes here, you know? And it's like, you gotta be, this is why it's great being an artist, because we've got the left brain way of building and conceiving ideas and putting things together in an orderly fashion, but our right brains are, we can think of things on the fly, and we can take what we planned and just sort of be like, yeah, let's do it this way instead, or wow, this is pretty good, but let's sprinkle this on top now. And you couldn't think of that from the beginning because you weren't in it enough. Thanks for that, Hector. Robin says, ups. Oops, I did it again. Start again. Wow, the Surefire plan to fail. Yeah, I thought I was going to learn the secret to making my Surefire foolproof plan. Nah, I tricked you. I lied to you. But it's not really, but it is. Yeah, it is, because this is the way to do it. There is no way to come up with a plan before you do the thing. You got to come up with a plan in the middle of the thing. You got to build the airplane after you take off. It's the only way to do it. Not with literal airplanes. Don't do that. Actually, I should explain this better, but can't right now. No, you explained it good enough. Because I'm trying to concentrate on this, but I'm distracted by listening to you. I may or may not try again. Ooze. Ooze. Oops. Oops. You meant oops. And Robin says, exactly. Excellently said, Hector. Excellently said. That's an adverb for you. So many times I start out with one idea and it changes over and over as I go and winds up as something way more amazing than I could have even imagined when I am through. Exactly. Exactly. Take the Edison approach. He didn't fail 10,000 times. He learned 10,000 ways how not to fail. That's right. Whether true or not, his statement clearly shows one shouldn't give up. Yeah, he what was the anecdote that he thought of 10,000 ways to not make a light bulb, something like that. That's exactly it. Like everything that you do, I've said this in other lives where it's like sometimes the path that we're on isn't a straight line. It's not like I'm here and I want to go there, so I'll just walk straight at it. It doesn't work that way. We sometimes meander, and sometimes we'll meander over here and we'll be doing this thing, and then we go this way, and when we're over here doing this thing, we're just like, what the heck was that all about? And then the path keeps meandering, and then all of a sudden that thing we did on the first bend, now it's important. It's like, oh, wait a minute. I remember doing that or thinking that or having that idea. That idea fits here now. But it seemed to make absolutely no sense the first time I thought of it. It happens, and we need to be open to this meandering process. It's like this, My often crazy only problem is... You're very superfluous with the words today. Not having an idea that changes, but not having an idea at all that I'm not afraid to start. Double negatives in there. Not having an idea at all that I am not afraid to start. Like I don't have an idea at all, so now it's like I'm not even going to start anything because I can't think of anything. Is that what you're saying? Staring at a blank canvas or a fresh unmarked piece of pristine white paper like a deer in headlights, afraid of ruining a perfect beautiful canvas, or it paralyzes me from the start, like a fraidy cat afraid of the mouse, when actually the cat has absolutely no reason for those sentiments at all. Now, yeah, we're talking about the same thing, I think. It's that we're looking at this blank canvas, and instead of just... so let's use this analogy now, right? You're looking at the blank canvas. Well, I'm not a painter, so I don't know if you get paint on the canvas and then you change your mind, is it ruined? I don't really know. But for me, working on a digital thing, sometimes my thumbnails aren't always pencil on paper because I don't always think well from the head to the hand to the pencil on the paper. That it doesn't flow. The energy doesn't always flow for me. Sometimes I need to just literally open up. I'm going to say Photoshop, but I don't use Photoshop anymore. But you know that what I mean when I say that. I'll literally open up my app and just start like putting things together. And the thing I like about that is that it can look pretty finished, but I might get to a place where I'm just like, that's kind of cool, and I'll walk away from it and come back, and then just be like, nah, I got a better idea, and then move things around, or just completely throw that in the garbage. So with a canvas, an actual canvas, I could imagine that it might be a little bad to be like, I'm going to start putting paint on here, and now it's like, oh, I hate this, but this was an expensive canvas or something, so I don't know. Can you fix it? I don't know. Maybe to a point, right? So don't start right on the canvas. Start on a piece of paper. Maybe take that paint and paint on, or maybe get an old canvas that you can just keep washing over. The gouache, is that what it is? The stuff you put over paint. Maybe have one that you could just be like a practice canvas and be like, let me try this, let me try this, let me try this. I kind of like where I'm going with this. I feel more into this now. Now I'm ready to bring it to the real canvas. I don't know. That's just an idea. Something like that. You can figure out how that would work in your world for real. Let me see. I read this one, the sentiments. My forms of thumbnailing are what I call art sketches. When I have, so you had the answer in your next comment. I went through that whole thing for nothing. When I have or I dream an idea, I'll grab a piece of scrap paper and sketch it out with notations of colors. Okay. Everything I just said, you already said. You could have told me. If only I could hear you. So it will jog my memory as I start in the future to create something. I have a notebook with protector sheets in which I will stick the papers They're dated for posterity. Good. Those are my so-called thumbnails. Good. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So good for you. Thank you. Nathan, I find myself planning more than in it, and I get stuck in it. So I find myself planning more than in it. Than in it. Planning more than in it, and I get stuck, and it sucks. Okay. Planning more than being in it. Is that what you mean? Like I'm planning and I'm planning and I'm planning rather than just being in the flow of the creation. Is that what you mean? That's what I'm pretending you mean. Let's just say that's what you mean. So I find myself in planning mode rather than in creation mode. And when I'm in planning mode, I won't let myself create. I won't let myself go there until I have figured it out. And then I just get stuck there because nothing seems to work. Do you ever do this? I go in, I can get into a loop of circles. I'll be like, oh, I like that idea, but I don't like this part of the idea because that doesn't work well for me. But instead of that part of the idea, I can replace it with this idea. And I like that. But now this new idea to replace that one part that didn't work for me makes this other part now not work too well. So I'll replace that. And next thing you know, I'm making little substitutions in my thinking, in my strategy for the things that I don't like. And then all of a sudden, one moment I'll realize I'm right back at the original idea. I've substituted things enough that now I've substituted everything back to the original thing. And I'm just like, that's brilliant. Why didn't I just stick with this in the first place? And eventually I'll just be like, I just got to start something. So instead of going on a day trip and seeing how these things feel and look in practicality, I'll build the whole friggin' thing. And I'll just make it and say like, hey, everybody, look at this. And then I'll go, oh, this stinks. Why did I show everybody this? Why did I build this? Why did I call it that? Why did I make it that color? Why did I use that image? You know what I mean? And it's like you can literally get stuck in this loop of planning and changing rather than allow yourself to just be in the creative flow. I have had to realize that my business, my life, my thing that I call Bobby, that I call Fuel Blue, that is on a journey. That's where I came up with Quantasy, the Quantum Odyssey. I didn't call it the place that I am and will never leave again because my flag is planted and get out. I didn't call it that. I called it a meandering journey. I called it an odyssey. Do you know an odyssey is a never-ending journey? Like, you know the Odyssey, the Iliad and the Odyssey, right? That Odyssey, that thing lasted like 50 years or something like that. That's a long journey. You know, this isn't a drive to the store. This is a lifelong, ongoing, never-ending trek. And that's what life is, because Abraham says you'll never get it finished, you'll never get it done, you can't get it perfect, you can't get it right, you'll never be done, you'll never be finished, because as soon as you get to a new place, now you see all new things that you didn't even know existed, and you're like, that's even better. Or I want that as part of this. So by getting okay with that, I've gotten okay with the fact that I'm going to say, hey guys, I've got this thing now. And then sometime later, I'm going to start tweaking it and changing it and playing with it, because that's just how it works. Yeah, I feel like I don't have the ideas. Well, when you don't have the ideas, to me, that just means that you're trying to force it. Then you go back to the energy work. When you don't have the ideas, you're in a place where you're not letting the ideas come to you. Imagine that what you're doing is you're saying, I have to figure this out all by myself, me and my meat suit, no help from source, no help from energy, no help from spirit, whatever you want to call it. Me, I got to do it, this guy. So when you're feeling that way, that's when you got to really practice your, the first part of what I said the energy work for this is the meditation. I might take an entire week where I don't do anything except meditate on it. And not meditate on it with the idea of, what if it worked this way? What if it worked that? That's not meditation. Meditation is quieting the mind, not trying to figure it out, not even thinking about it. If I'm in a really bad place about it, I'll just go watch TV or a movie or something like that and get my mind completely off of it. Go for a walk, go for a drive, go do yoga, go work out, go scream at things, play music and sing really loud. Whatever you like to do to just get your brain off of that and into a place where you're kind of elevating your energy a bit. Once your energy is elevated a bit, it could take a day, it could take a week. It probably won't take longer than that. All of a sudden you'll get an idea. The ideas are there. The ideas are there. All you're doing is you're doing this. Don't give them to me. Once you put those arms down, once you put those shields down, they'll come in, they'll pop in your head. You'll get the idea. My comment about not having an idea, I wasn't talking about digital, but painting or mixed media. I knew that. My double negation, double talk. Let's double talk with the word double. Basically, that when there are no ideas that don't scare meant. Simply, it's when every idea I do or do not have scares me too much to feel secure enough to start. I feel like a deer in the headlights. Yeah, sometimes the ideas are just overwhelming. You're not there yet. That's all. You're not there yet. Do the energy work. Meditate on it. Relax on it. Do something else and come back to it with a fresh mind. Sometimes you can get that frustrated feeling where nothing's working out, and you can do all the action in the world. It's just not going to work. Sometimes you just need to go to bed. Call it a day. Go to bed. Wake up tomorrow and start again. Or don't. Take the day off. Take a day off. That's why we need vacations and things like that. We're not built to just go sleep. Go. We can't do that. We need time each day to relax. We need time each week to relax. And we need time throughout the year to relax and take the stress off. Just get out of that. Get out of it for a little while. Yes, I hate the loops. Yeah, they suck. Crimson's here. Hi. I was painting, but I'm here now. Okay, that's cool. You're allowed to paint. Painting. We'll allow it. Robin says, therefore, my foolproof Surefire plan is to not fail. Therefore, my foolproof Surefire plan to not fail is to have a Surefire plan to have no plan at all. That's good. You know, if you can tell yourself, I am not going to try to figure this out, but rather I will be the receiver of the plan. I don't have to be the thinker of the plan. I don't have to be the one who maps it all out, in my notebook or whatever, however you do things like that. I don't have to do that. I can let it come to me, and I can let it come to me while I'm doing it. When you don't have a plan, then you don't have a plan that can fail. Oh, there you go. Because you know what happens when you're working on the plan? When you're working on the plan, you become invested in the plan. And as soon as you're invested in something, now it's like, at first you're excited about it because it's all theoretical. It's all theoretical, and it works 100%. When everything is theoretical, it works 100%. In your mind, I can see the whole thing. This is amazing. As soon as you start adding practicality to it, as soon as you start making it physical, tangible, something somebody else can see, there's always going to be a thing you notice that is like, that's not exactly the way it was working theoretically. Or there's going to be that person that's like, right? You're going to get those things, and they're going to happen. Because that's just how life works. That's called contrast. There is no contrast in your perfect plan, because your perfect plan is your ego trying to prop you up as God, as the physical part of you as God alone, without the spirit. The ego is just like, get that spirit crap out of here. It's just us. It's just us, the physical us. You in the meat suit and me in your head going, that's all there is, right? And we have to figure that out. And if we can't figure that out, then we're nothing. And then when you listen to that and you believe that voice, then you worry that that's true. So what happens? You make this plan, and when it's theoretical, it's perfect. It's wonderful. And as soon as you start putting it into practical applications and practice, you notice that it's not perfect. That doesn't mean it was a bad plan. It just means that it's not the perfect, surefire, foolproof thing that you thought that it was. But what does your ego do? Oh my God, we suck. And now, because you attached that to your self-worth, you thought your self-worth as a living, breathing person was now attached to this thing. Because this thing isn't good, that means I'm not good. Now you're worrying about it, and worrying is just planning to fail. That's all that it is. So you're going to keep doubling down on it, right? You're going to you're gonna work even harder to make this thing that's clearly not working work. It doesn't work. All you got to do when that happens, even if that does happen, even if you realize, oh my God, I've been doing that all week or all month or whatever, even if that does happen, you could be like, oh, well, I'm not a loser for that. I'm just a human being and I got lost in my ego for a little bit. That's no big deal. Hey, it's okay. We all do it. Everybody does it. But I'm self-aware enough to notice that I did it. I can just stop now. Okay, well, I wish I stopped yesterday, but I'll stop today. What's the difference? I'm going to go watch TV. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go out with friends or on a date or something. I'm going to hang out with my kids. I'm going to pet my cat for a little while. That's all you got to do. Heart. Crimson says, I don't hardly ever plan a painting. I have more fun that way and just see where I go, and I guess it shows. There you go. You know, I was thinking about you with this today because you made that post, if you're still here, Crimson. You made that post with the trees, and you were like, I'm going to try, what were they, neon pens or something on this? And I was like, wow, that's brave, because, you know, I'm a digital artist, so I can say like, oh, I wonder what it would look like if I tried this thing on it. And I'll make a new layer in my thing, and I'll put it on there, and I'll be like, that looks like shit. I'll just delete the layer. No big deal. The original thing is still there, not touched. But you can't do that. You're like, I'm going to see what it looks like with these neon pens on it. You literally have to take the pen and go, I don't like that. Oh, well, I guess I ruined this whole thing. I don't know how that works, you know? So to me, that takes courage. But so good for you. But it looked nice. I liked it. I think my work is very primitive in nature because of the lack of planning. But I'm okay with that. I'm very critical of myself. And so if I just wing it, I almost always appreciate and enjoy the process. That's great too. And you know what? I assume that if you were to try a thing and you really didn't like it, you can just make another thing. You know, maybe not that exact thing. Maybe just realize, gee, I wanted to try this new pen or paint on this thing, and I don't like it. I remember Karina, if you're in the replay, she did a thing recently where she showed a picture she was working on, and then she showed it again the next day where she had put gold leaf on it. She's like, I think I'm just going to give up on gold leaf because this stuff stinks, you know? And she didn't like it. But she showed it and was just like, you know what? Next time I'm just going to skip the gold leaf, and that's that. I get to do that with digital and not ruin my painting, so haha. Go walk the dog. Yeah, your comment. Okay, well that's the last comment. So Robin, you can have the booby prayer. You're off suspension. How's that, guys? Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. As always, I appreciate it. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you tomorrow. And Robin gets the booby prize. Thanks, guys. Bye.